Okay, study guide part 4. I'm gonna go backward to number 7. I skipped it. I'm coming back to it since we are dealing with the unit circle. What they're asking for is where is the ordered pair on the unit circle that correspond to the angle 7 pi over 4. First of all, draw the angle 7 pi over 4. It goes from here to here. There is a point on the circle here. It's xy they want you to find. Now, just because they said it's a unit circle, this is the cosine of 7 pi over 4 and sine the 7 pi over 4. So in order to answer the question, I need you to find the reference angle, build the triangle. This is 45 degree, this is negative 1, 1 rad 2. The cosine will be rad 2 over 2, and the sine will be negative rad 2 over 2. This is the answer to their question. This is what they're looking for. Number 9, part A. Sine inverse of 0. Call it theta. We're looking for the angle. The sine of theta is equal to 0. Think of it from here to here, negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2. Where is the sine 0? Of course, you cannot make a right triangle here. So the ordered pair here will be 1, 0. This is the cosine, this is the sine. So this theta will be either 0 degree or 0 radian. Part B. Arc cosine of negative 1. Call it theta. The question is cosine of theta equal to negative 1. What is theta? Now I need you to know your cosine inverse goes from 0 to pi. All the way from here to here. Where is the cosine negative 1? You cannot make a triangle, so you're going to have to go to this ordered pair, negative 1, 0, cosine, sine. So the angle is going to be either a pi or 180 degree, and I want you to give both. Part C. Arc sine of 1/2 equal to theta. Sine of theta is equal to 1/2. We're dealing with arc sine. We're going to be in the first or fourth quadrant. Positive, we're going to go to the first quadrant. This is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. That's a 30, 60, 90. The angle is going to be a 30 degree or pi over 6. Give both. Part D. Arc tan of 1 equal to theta. That means tangent of what angle will give you a 1? Arc tangent has to be the first or the fourth. Since it's positive, I'm going to the first. Opposite over adjacent. This is going to be a 45, 45, 90. So theta must have been either a 45 or a pi over 4. Give both. Part E. Arc cosine of rad 3 over 2. That means cosine of what angle will give you rad 3 over 2? I want you to know cosine inverse works only from 0 to pi. Since it's positive, I'm going to the first quadrant, adjacent over hypotenuse. This is a 30, 60, 90. Theta is going to be a 30 degree or pi over 6, and you have to give both answers. Sine inverse, part F. This is an angle. Sine of what angle will give you negative rad 2 over 2? I need you to know sine inverse will be negative in quadrant 4. This is going to be the same thing as negative 1 over rad 2. So if we want to identify the triangle, so you have to put negative 1 here, rad 2 here, and adjacent of 1. So the angle is going to be negative 45 degree or negative pi over 4. You have to give both answers, and the angle has to be between negative pi over 2 and positive pi over 2. Then part G. Arctan of tan negative rad 3. Call it theta. Tangent of what angle will give you negative rad 3? Now we know tangent has to be from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2. Since it's a negative angle, I'm going to go to the quadrant 4. This is opposite over adjacent, or negative rad 3 over 1. As you can see, this is a 30, 60 degree. Negative 60 degree would do, or negative pi over 3 will do, but you have to give me both answers. Part H. Call this one theta. That means tangent of what angle will give you rad 3 over 3. Here you might have to rationalize it or make it 1 over rad 3. It's easy to identify the triangle. Arctan has to be from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2. Since it's positive, I'm going to go to the first quadrant. This is opposite over adjacent. And so this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So theta is going to be either a 30 degree or pi over 6. And you have to give me both answers. I. Cosine inverse negative rad 2 over 2. It means cosine of what angle will give you negative rad 2 over 2. Here I want you to rationalize it, which makes it to negative 1 over rad 2. We know cosine inverse has to be defined from 0 to pi. Since it's negative, I'm going to go to quadrant 2, adjacent over hypotenuse. And this is going to be the angle from here to here. This is what theta is. If the reference is 45, theta is going to be 135 degree, or it's going to be 3 pi over 4. Number 10, part A. I want you to figure out what they're asking you to do. Tan inverse is going to give you an angle, so your job is to figure out what's cosine of theta. If you can answer that question, you're done. I'm going to go to the side of my paper and say if tan inverse of 1 equal to theta, that means tangent of theta is equal to 1. Now remember here, we have to be in this quadrant or that. We have to go from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2 because we're dealing with tangent inverse. And this is going to be opposite over adjacent, which gives us an angle of 45 degree or pi over 4. So the question here is, what's cosine of 45 degree? And cosine of 45 degree is going to give us rad 2 over 2. And rad 2 over 2 is your answer. Part B. Part B, we're going to break it down into two parts. The first part is I'm going to do what's inside the parentheses here on the side of my paper. Cosine of pi over 2, this is a regular cosine. You go to the unit circle and you figure out where the angle is. Pi over 2 is going to be on the y-axis. This is the location. You do not make a right triangle here. The ordered pair should be 0, 1. That's a cosine, that's a sine. So the cosine of pi over 2 is simply 0. So the question becomes, what's the sine inverse of 0? If cosine inverse of 0 is certain angle, that means the sine of what angle will give you a 0. Now I need you to know that you're dealing with sine inverse. That means you have to decide from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2, where is the sine equal to 0? And as you can tell, you cannot make a right triangle. The sine is going to be 0 over here because that's an ordered pair of a cosine and sine. So the sine is equal to 0 at 0. So the answer to all my problem right here is going to be a 0 degree or 0 radian. Whatever you want is fine. Part C. Part C, I'm going to do this first in the parentheses, and then I can come back and find the arcsine of the answer. So let's go ahead and figure out on the side of our paper, what is the sine of 7 pi over 4? Well, simply to do the sine of 7 pi over 4, we have to do 4 things. We have to draw the angle. 7 pi over 4 is 745 degree, which is going to go from here to here. Reference angle of 45. You draw a right triangle. You label the sides, you answer the question. The sine of 7 pi over 4, this part right here is going to give you negative rad 2 over 2, or you can give me as negative 1 over rad 2. So the question becomes, what's arcsine of this? So now here what we're going to have to do. We're going to ask ourselves the question, what's arcsine of negative 1 over rad 2? Call this as an angle. That means this is the sine of what angle will give you negative 1 over rad 2. Now we know the sine inverse has to be from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2. And so because it's negative angle, I'm going to go to quadrant 4. This is opposite over hypotenuse. This is the adjacent, so the angle will be negative 45 degree or negative pi over 4. In that case, you have to give me both. Part D. I want you to call this inside the parentheses a theta because it's an inverse, and the question becomes, what's cosine of theta? I'm going to go to the side of my paper here and figure out when tan inverse of negative 3 pi over 4 equal to theta, that means tangent of theta is equal to negative 3/4. Now, of course, we know the tan inverse is going to have to go from negative pi over 2 to positive pi over 2. And since we have a negative, I'm going to go to quadrant 4, negative 3 over 4, opposite over adjacent. This is a triple. This must have been theta. So to answer the question, I don't need to know what theta is. All what I need to know what cosine of theta. Cosine of theta is 4/5. So the answer to our problem right here is 4/5. Next, what we're going to do, we're going to skip part E and part F, and you're done. Good luck.